Well, it got to like yeah. I think my mom dating was definitely uh took a little bit of just kind of getting used to because yeah she would be going out all the time, hanging out with her friends and kind of
Mm,
trying to play that game and and it was just kind of weird not having her around all the time, like
mm.
not having her be home all the time.
That was the voice of Eduardo Hernandez. Eduardo is a product designer and leader in Southern California, currently out of Los Angeles. And we had a fantastic talk that really had a wide range of subjects. We went deep into family dynamics and talking about divorce and how a parent moving away can really affect our relationships with them and with our siblings. We talked about moms dating and going out and living the single life and what that does to a kid. We also spent a lot of time talking about Eduardo's experience with jiu-jitsu and soccer and how sports have really helped him over the years find new community, especially when moving to a new city like Los Angeles. I had a great time chatting with Eduardo, and I hope you enjoy listening as well. We also recorded this way back last late summer, last fall, so you'll hear me reference that. It's been a while for us to actually get this out to you, but I'm so glad to finally share with you Eduardo. Let's get on with it. Hey, so it's end of summer vibes in LA right now. What's happening in LA?
So the heat is starting is pretty much starting to kick in, but LA is I think like summer's kind of coming to an end. It seems like the streets are a lot more empty than they used to, and like the beginning of summer, and students were all out and everything. But
Hmm.
seems to be a lot less tourism going on here. But
Everybody's going back to their full time
yeah,
commitments or whatnot. What part of LA
yeah.
are you in?
I'm in like the West Hollywood area. I'm by
Yeah,
like the Laugh Factory area. Yeah.
totally. Yeah, yeah.
I see tons of double deckers coming around with a bunch of tourists and that kind of stuff, but now it's a lot slower.
Are you ever encouraged to like jump on the double decker and like go on the tour or hold up a sign that you're like in front of so and such, you know, Tommy Lee ate his first sub here or something like that?
So sometimes when double deckers like pass around, like I like just telling them that I'm famous and waving, and a lot of them kind of believe it and point their cameras my way,
Right, right,
but
right.
but I don't. Yeah.
Who do they say you look like? If anybody says who do you look like, who do you look like?
Nah, nobody famous, I don't think.
No,
I
nobody
don't,
ever
I
said
have
like,
no
are
idea.
you related to so and so?
That'd be cool. I would totally just roll with it. Like, yeah, that's definitely me. But I don't get that much. But I'm
Yeah,
always definitely curious to go on double deckers.
yeah, yeah. LA is a funny place. I lived in Los Feliz, so not pretty close to West Hollywood and all that. But one of my first experiences was related to that. Is somebody thought I was like somebody famous or like their brother. They were like, "Hey, are you related to this person?" And I was like, what's happening? Like, I'm buying cat food at the grocery store. What's going on? It's a surreal place.
Yeah. Do you think that you look like?
Back then, Edward Norton, 20 something years ago, I'd say we looked a lot alike. Not so much these days, but yeah, it was, somebody just in the middle of the aisle. We're like, are you related to Edward Norton? And I was like, what? What's happening?
Most definitely, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, are you from LA originally?
No, so I was born in Tijuana in Mexico. Uh,
Nice. Yeah.
and then moved to San Diego, and I spent most of my life in San Diego and lived a little bit in Texas. Um, San Diego, and then moved up here to LA when work went remote. I was up here in LA, so we moved in together over here.
Ah, nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. So from Southern California, but yeah, San Diego is a lot different than LA, and
yeah,
even though it's only an hour and a half with traffic, it makes it three.
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
how long have you been in LA?
Not that long. I don't. I'll be a year, like in September. I think I moved last September, so not that
Oh,
long.
so you moved like during the pandemic. So it's like
Yeah.
LA was not even kind of LA at the time.
No, no. I would come up to LA quite often because my girlfriend lived here, and then I came up here during the pandemic, and it was a really really weird scene of a bunch of there's everything was boarded up, there was nobody around, and it was definitely a very 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 odd scene, and a kind of an odd time and like circumstance to move over here, but um, yeah.
Yeah. Well, how has it been so far? Is there have you been able to establish new relationships? Are you still going down to San Diego a lot to kind of hang?
Definitely like almost all my best friends are over there in San Diego. I got a couple friends over here in LA. My sister lives in LA and my girlfriend's sister lives over here in LA as well. But like making new friends is honestly it's kind of like a difficult thing because I work remote, I work from home, and then like moving to a new city when you work from home, it's not like you're not at work making like a bunch of new friends. Um, So like doing things like jiu-jitsu and other stuff like that has kind of been
Mm,
more where I could find friends here and there, but you know where I normally would make friends and at work, that's kind of taken away. I'm here at home.
right, right, right. I can very much relate to that. Of we moved to rural Vermont in the middle of nowhere, and it's like I've had to resort to LinkedIn to try to find anybody local because there's not any type of meetups. Like the closest, uh, you know, hobby place or gym is like 30 minutes away. It's not actually our town and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty hard. And then throw the pandemic in and all that. So jujitsu is this something you've been doing a long time? Have you been doing it most of your life? Where does that fit in?
Jiu-jitsu, jiu-jitsu really started because a friend from high school showed me a video of this like small Brazilian guy wearing these like pajamas looking thingies and like the belt and everything, and then he was just going in there and just kicking everybody's ass with like some magic voodoo stuff, some holds that would put people to sleep and everything. And I was like, wow, that's and like when I was a kid, I was doing Taekwondo, and then as I grew
Mm,
older, I was like, wow, this Taekwondo thing would not provide any self defense whatsoever. Like all these gatas that you got to do and all that sort of stuff wouldn't work. And then
right. So you weren't like just looking to kick people's ass. You were learning,
no,
self defense and more of the breathing and the meditation involved. Not just like, oh, I need.
yeah.
There's this one person, and I really need to kick their ass.
No, 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 definitely not. Yeah, it was a lot more of like self-defense and a lot more of just how impressive. Because I've liked martial arts since I was like a kid with like all this like Taekwondo stuff that was going
Mm,
on and Bruce Lee movies. I thought it was all really 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 cool and really really interesting. And then once Jiu-Jitsu came around, I was like, oh, like, that's the best thing to know. And that was like kind of really really impressive. And so there was like doing jiu-jitsu was like really expensive, uh,
right.
especially as a high school student. So I got into wrestling. I started doing wrestling in high school first, and then
Oh,
once
nice.
that
Yeah.
kind of came to an end, I kind of I tried doing like jiu-jitsu on the side, um, and then I was like kind of later try to pick it up more, and definitely try to pick it up more this time now that just like a place to socialize and make friends
Mm,
and work out and kind of get out of the house and place to kind of just unplug. Um,
nice. Yeah.
yeah.
I think everybody needs that for sure. Was was getting into sports or martial arts even as a younger kid, was that something you were interested? Did you have like a parent saying you need to do something? How did that all get involved?
Man, so I've been doing sports since I can remember. I like the first sport that I got into was soccer. and
Mm-hmm.
like I mean, yeah, I guess like being a kid in Mexico, like soccer is just like the default route you got to go to. And I still love soccer, and I still like and I still play soccer every now and then. But for sure, I think my parents always wanted me to have like a something else on, like on the side, like some like team related or like sport. Um, and it was like taekwondo or soccer,
Mm.
saying jiu-jitsu, boxing, all that sort of stuff seems to kind of be something that they got me into.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
very cool. Different than mine. I was the kid that wanted to go play that. My parents, neither of them did any type of sport, and so they were, they would be kind of witnesses, but really not really know what's going on. And so they would show up and like cheer me on, and kind of look at other parents and go, "Is that a good part? Should we clap now?" Um, uh, Very different.
What sport did you get into?
I played a lot of soccer as a kid. Played a lot of baseball, even basketball. But I was a late bloomer. So I was like 4'10" and weighed 75 pounds as a freshman in high school. And so then when I was just not even, I was half the size of anybody else. And on the soccer pitch, people would just have to like kind of lean into me, and I would go flying. And so I switched over to track and cross country and stuff, not because like that was my chosen one. It was more just I would have a little bit um, easier chance, I guess. But yeah,
Mm,
disappointed too later on, I guess, because I loved playing soccer mostly. That was my
yeah.
favorite. Um,
My 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 parents like were definitely behind me playing soccer and like definitely understood what was going on. But then once I started like, oh, this wrestling thing is pretty cool, they were like, yeah, I don't know if we really quite understand like what's going on here. And like it was like the wrestling meets were like way long, and then
mm,
um and like I remember one time I had a I won my first my first like tournament, and then I saw my mom showed up, and then she had no idea that I won. She had no idea like what happened, and I'm all just like a sweaty mess, tired, exhausted, and I'm like, yeah, I won, mom, and try to give her a hug. I'm all sweaty. She's like, okay, and so just trying to stay away from me, but
let's shower before we celebrate.
yeah, I was just a fist bump here, but yeah,
Yeah.
soccer is definitely a thing in my
Uh,
family for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And so I don't know about you, but my especially when I got into high school, my parents were working full time. They never really came to any of the sporting events. Their just schedules just didn't allow it. Did your parents end up coming a bunch, or was it more like drop off and pick up?
Definitely, like in soccer, they would come a lot more often. But like my parents got divorced when I was like in middle school, and so my
Ah,
dad moved to Mexico City, and
oh
then
wow.
yeah, um, and then so my sisters would kind of see some of like the short matches and that kind of stuff every now and then. But I think kind of once I got into wrestling, it was kind of pick up, drop off kind of a thing.
Right, right. So you're going back, if you don't mind, going back to
No.
middle school. Your parents get divorced. You're in San Diego with your mom and your sisters, and now suddenly your
Mhm.
dad is back in Mexico City.
Yeah.
Um, what was that like? Uh, what was that like to experience that?
Um, it wasn't like this is like probably not the answer, but like it wasn't that bad. Like I guess
Hmm.
was kind of the thing because the um my dad was always working and going to Mexico, and
Hmm.
uh, yeah, I think our relationship was sometimes shaky. So
Hmm.
when it was when that happened, it was definitely weird and odd, and like you don't like see like your parents like arguing, and um like when he moved to Mexico, it was it wasn't it wasn't a huge blow. It was kind of it made it hard to like stay in touch and and you kind of feel like you're kind of like drifting like in separate ways and all that,
Right.
but it wasn't like it was like someone I guess I was like super close with
Mm,
at that point in my life because he was just traveling all the time and was more of the disciplinarian type. And so when I was in middle school trying to be rebellious and trying to do my own thing, it kind of I guess wasn't a huge issue for me.
right. But still, you have a parent who was probably, I guess, a more significant part of your life up until that point, even with the travel, and then very different dynamics. And so, were you close with your mom before this?
Yeah, yeah. Me and my mom are really close. Yeah, me and my mom are really
Okay.
close. And we still remain really close. Um, yeah, and the dynamic after that was obviously like different. Like my mom was trying to find you know other guys to meet, and she was hanging
Mm,
out with her friends like a lot more often, and my mom made less money than my dad, so the situation became a lot more time. Um,
right. Do you mean
balancing
the like the socioeconomic stuff, or like that your mom is also dating and going out differently than what was that all part of the equation?
yeah.
Especially at middle school too, right? Where middle school, I don't know that anybody ever wants to go through the middle school years again. Uh, what? How was that then landing with you? And were sports kind of a place that you would escape to, or find some refuge in? What was it like at home now with this different dynamic?
Um, well, it got to like yeah. I think my mom dating was definitely uh took a little bit of just kind of getting used to because she would be going out all the time, hanging out with her friends, and kind of
Mm,
trying to play that game, and and it was just kind of weird not having her around all the time, like
mm,
not having her be home all the time. Um, and and then we had a situation where like my grandma moved to find a place to live, so she moved in with us. And then
mm.
we had just a bunch of people living in like in a small apartment. Um, so I think kind of sports just became like a place to kind of get out and just to take your. I guess
Yep.
I didn't see it that way when I was younger, but I definitely see it that way. Now I would always be hanging out with my friends outside of my house, playing sports outside of my house,
Right.
doing whatever I can kind of outside of my house.
So not only did your parents divorce, your dad moves away, your mom has to pick up more work, is now dating, you're getting into sports, your grandma now moves in as well.
Yeah.
Um, are you the oldest? Are
I'm
you in the middle?
I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle. I
Okay.
have two sisters, one older, one younger. Um, but like, I was the only like I guess I was the only boy in the family for
Yeah.
whatever that means. But yeah, I have an older sister and a younger sister.
Okay. But lots of changes for everybody.
Mhm.
And um yeah, so sports became this refuge. I'm fascinated to then uh kind of hear more about you mentioned you're close with your mom.
Mm.
Was it always super close? Did it go through ebbs and flows like through this transition? Did you just immediately bond at a deeper level during these years?
Um, it was more like ebbs and flows. I think there was like some times where maybe we never we never got along like that.
Hmm.
But I think there was times where like we got more close than other times. I think whenever she was going through a tough time was times that we kind of would get closer. Um, I think maybe like my dad moving out and kind of being like her being like in a vulnerable situation. Um,
Yeah.
just made me feel like, I just wanted to be there for her.
Yeah, yeah. Um, is your mom still in San Diego?
Yeah, yeah, she's still in San Diego. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And how are y'all doing now? Now that you've moved after last year, what's the last year been like?
It's been good. She calls me like an incredible amount of times a day.
Multiple times a
Like
day?
she'll call me sometimes multiple times a day.
Oh
Multiple
my
times a day.
gosh.
I won't always take the call multiple times a day, but like maybe because like also she has a job that she has like on the side that involves like a lot of driving. So whenever she's
Mm.
driving and it's just getting boring, and she hasn't really explored podcasts enough, so I was trying to get her into podcasts a little bit more, just to ease how much phone calls I'm getting. But if she ever gets bored, she'll kind of just she'll call me and she'll say what's up or anything like that. But
Right.
but yeah,
Are you
but
busy? Can you talk for the next 45 minutes while I'm just driving around?
yeah.
What are the topics that you all talk about during these things?
Well, so like that's the thing. Like sometimes like I'm like, all right, well, I'm doing this thing, so I'm gonna hang up the phone now. And then she'll be like, all right, yeah, anyway, so I'm doing this and that and whatever. And I'm like, all right, just like it just goes like a little long, and then I'm just like, all right. But like a lot of times she'll
Yeah,
just call
I
me.
heard what you said, and I'm just gonna keep going.
Yeah, yeah. You can hang up or not, but I'm just gonna keep talking now. And if you hang up, it's really good. No, so like we'll just catch up, talk about whatever. She'll just tell me about like her job and how she's doing. It's like this
Right.
mundane stuff like that. But doesn't
This
matter
is
what
what
I'm
happened
doing.
the last 3 hours. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna catch you up minute by minute. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's been better now I'm like, hey mom, I'm doing this, like I'm doing something, and it's not like I'm always down for like 45-minute conversation about you know about what you're in the market for right now at the
Right.
supermarket or whatever. And it's okay. Uh,
Or the asshole driving the Toyota next to me, like in
yeah,
traffic. I
yeah.
just need to tell you now. Does she have the same relationship with your sisters? Is she talking to them as frequently? Does she bounce between everybody?
Um, Sometimes, but I think she'll pick on me more. I think I talk to her a lot more often than maybe my other sisters.
Hmm.
They're
You
not too
answer.
generous with it.
You answer
I
the call.
answer. Yeah, I'm gonna check my phone number, I think. But yeah,
Oh man, that is uh yeah, it's a very different relationship than I have with my parents. My parents are cool, but we talk like once a week, and it's kind of been at that pace for many years. I think even in college, I was like, yeah, once a week is okay for me, and
yeah.
sort of set that barrier back then. But that means is then suddenly we have longer conversations, I guess, but maybe not. I don't know.
Hmm.
Um, so, uh, how often are you seeing your mom? Are you going down to San Diego a lot?
Uh, no, not that much. Like I try to I kind of want to I try to stay up in LA a bit more. Like lately we've had like a lot of things to go to, and down in San Diego,
Mm,
like went to weddings and all sort of stuff. Um,
mm.
my mom's like a avid bike racer, so whenever she has a race,
Oh
try,
wow!
try to join. Try to join her
Like
with
road
her
bike,
race.
mountain bike.
It's yeah, road bike.
Wow,
Yeah, she picked that up
go mom!
a couple. I know. Yeah. Um, there's one specific. So I'm I'm not big on the bike. At least I wasn't. And then my mom's like, "Hey, like join us for this like race. It's from like Ensenada to like Rosarito, like in Mexico." And
Mm.
I was like, "Why are you doing it?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah." Like, "Oh, yeah, I'll do it, whatever." And then I was totally thinking, I was like, "Oh yeah, like my mom's doing it. It's gonna be cake. Like I won't train and nothing,
Oh
whatever."
yeah, no big
Yeah,
deal.
no big deal. And man, was it like the most hardest thing I think athletically I've ever had to do. It was impossible. Ready to
It
quit
was.
multiple times. It was tough. It
Did she
was
stay
tough.
with you, or did she just say, "I'll see you. I'll see you at the next checkpoint. I gotta go."
There was no way I could let my mom beat me in that race. I
Oh
went
my
as hard as
gosh!
I could. So I started off, and I think she started like a little like slower. I was ahead of my mom, but at some point there's like so many people. You just there's no way you can stick together. So it's
Right.
so I lost her like well on the way. And when I finished, I thought she finished ahead of me, but she was still behind me. But it was
Oh my gosh. So
yeah.
how did you went from San Diego like to Tijuana, or did you go further down? Did you go like down to Ensenada, or where were you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you start in Rosarito. So I drove
Yeah,
all
yeah.
we drove all the way down to Rosarito, and then you ride the bike all the way down to like Ensenada, not like through the highway, but like these
Right.
like mountainous like roads that have humongous uphills. That that every turn you imagine, it's just gonna be a downhill all the way down,
Hmm.
but it's just another uphill and another uphill, another
Right.
uphill.
Just
Yeah.
the Rocky Mountains, right? No big
Yeah, just
deal.
the rocky. Yeah, exactly. There, at some point,
Uh,
I was riding the bike, and a guy was walking faster than me, so
uh,
it was getting tough.
and so you did this with your mom. Did you then, when you got down there, did you hang out with her, or did you have to ride back, or did they bus you back? Did they put the bikes on some type of trailer? How did you all get back?
Yeah, well, we had a pickup truck, but when like once you get down, there's all these tents with like a bunch of like micheladas and beers
Mm.
and massages and whatever,
Oh, nice.
and you're just so hungry and so thirsty. Um, so we got some beers, and then we had a hotel, and we just, afterwards you're we went to go
Just
get a bunch of
crashed.
food.
Yeah.
We just got tons
Yeah.
of food at this place. It was about five of us that went to go do the race, and after
Oh,
that
rad.
you knock out, and then you know the next day you just put all the stuff back in the pickup truck and then drive back up. Yeah.
Wow. So, what did your mom say after the race? Was she proud of you? Was she now saying the next weekend we have another race? You have to come back down.
We're doing one in November now. Um, one that
Oh
I actually
wow.
think I feel like I gotta train for. But when I finished, I was in such pain. Like the amount of pain in my thighs was like unbearable. And so I took a nap on the streets with my with my bike and my helmet because I was
Oh my
so like just so
gosh.
beat up. And my mom got out of the bike so nonchalant, being like, it was
Yeah.
a little tough, huh? It was a little tough." I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
it was
There's some
terrible.
slight inclines. No big
Yeah,
deal. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
she,
so preparing. Are you gonna? Do you have a bike that you can get ready for? Maybe go do some indoor circuit training. How are you getting ready for November?
I have done absolutely nothing. I've gone with the same plan as yesterday, just a bunch of grit and and
Oh my
uh,
gosh.
and just going for it. I don't have a bike, but I'm definitely gonna get a bike. I was doing the elliptical at the gym, but I feel
Yep.
like now I gotta buy a bike, and then I think I have to learn a little bit of technique because last time I did it, I don't know if you know much about if you sit, you have to sit up on the seat so your
Yes.
legs can fully extend. Well, I was sitting very low on the seat for half of the race, where like
Like a
it's a
little
lot more
BMX
work to put.
bike.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I was going up an incline. And I was just huffing and puffing, and I was just like, and then some guy's like, "Hey man, your seat is way way too low." And I was like, and I got out. I was like, "I'll try whatever at this point." And I put it up, and it was a huge difference. So I feel like I kind of gotta get the technique down at least before next time.
Now, were you in clips and stuff too? Like fully clipped in, or what I mean by that, the shoes that clip into the pedals and all
Hmm.
that. Was that all new, or were you no clips?
No clips. I did no clips. I did I just some running shoes, and I had to ride a heavy mountain bike up
Oh my
up a hill.
gosh.
So, but
Oh gosh.
yeah, yeah. It was. Are you a biker?
I am an out of shape cyclist, but yeah, I
Yeah.
rode mostly when I lived in Switzerland and Austin, and yeah, technique changing gears while you're going uphill is like a whole new thing because the chain can sometimes kind of pop, and that can hurt your momentum. But learning how to like stand up and ride versus staying in the saddle in the seat and ride is all new stuff. I am not what I would call a cyclist. I have experience. I have a road bike. I have not been on my road bike in a couple years. Like so, um, trying to get into it. What's big up here is gravel biking. And so it's like kind of a hybrid bike. So it looks like a road bike, but it's much thicker tires that you can actually go on gravel, sort of off road, because a lot of the roads here are not paved. They're like
Mhm.
farm roads. And so, um, yeah, I want to get back into it for sure.
Mm. Can I ask you?
Are you inspired? Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna change topic, but I was gonna ask you. I'm really curious about your move to the middle of nowhere in Vermont.
Oh, yeah. So we moved up to a essentially like an eco co-housing village in Vermont just over a year ago. We wanted to be back in the trees, sort of be back in a an environment that really had four seasons. Be in a place that I think spoke to our values a little bit more. We were in Austin, Texas before that, and Austin was
Mm,
great. We didn't really like Texas very much. Um, and then we were more interested in living a more sustainable life and raising our kids in um, around that environment. And so, yeah, we live. There's 23 different families, households that co-own 275 acres of land. Now, the
mm,
majority of that 200 is just woods. And we maintain those woods in the sense that we have paths, but we maintain it for animals, like wild animals. So we
mm,
ensure that we keep it at a stage or a place that wild animals can cut through and all that. But then there's the other so like 60 of the 75 is all farmland. Our neighbors run a dairy farm and vegetable farm, and they're uh, really brilliant scientists and farmers that are doing what we would call soil regeneration. So learning how to kind of get the soil back to a place where it can handle droughts more often, where you can
mm,
grow vegetables without like the pesticides. So it's more like micro farming, but also research at the same time. And so,
mhm.
yeah, we moved here like a year ago. So my little office is at the farm. I'm in the original farmhouse, and we just have to happen to have fiber in our neighborhood, so I can
Oh wow,
work from the middle
that's
of
nice.
nowhere. But it's the same thing where I'm always remote. I'm always in this little office and
Yeah.
don't meet anybody. And so I have to find random hobbies, like tried learning guitar a few months ago, hoping to meet people there, and went to like a weird little movie festival in the town next to us to try to meet people there. And it's slow going,
Mm,
but um, sort of comfortable at the same time.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
How cut off are you from like all the other services that I'm like gonna
Well,
hear like in the city.
yeah. Well, I mean, we're like 20 minutes to a Target,
Oh,
but
okay, 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 okay.
they just opened the Target in November, so it's a
Mm,
very exciting for the entire region event, but there's a Starbucks there, but it's a small community, so it's like right on the New Hampshire Vermont border, just
mm,
about uh, central, so halfway north south. We're right in the middle. So we're kind of like right between Boston and Montreal. If you were
mm,
to make that drive, we're kind of like spot in the middle. And
mm.
like Dartmouth University is just 20 minutes away. So
Okay,
there's stuff around us. It's just
yeah,
you don't get on a frontage road, or you can't walk to the hipster location to have a euro and watch a movie by
yeah.
yourself, and very different from LA, like in that sense.
Yeah, yeah. And when Target came to town, was it something that was like welcomed, or was it like, oh, Target's gonna squash all these mom and pop shops?
Well, I think mostly welcome, but always um, there's always that. And in fact, our little town right now has these little shops, and obviously my farmers or my neighbors run a farm where there's a farm stand. It's like all the on the honor system. You just walk in, take what vegetables, and then you drop cash in a cash box or
Mm-hmm.
Venmo the farmers.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's all honor system. People totally adhere to the honor system. But then they're talking about near the highway putting in like a real estate developer wants to put in like a farm stand, which is more like a commercial version of a farm stand. And so there's a lot of debate going on in the community. We have email listservs, like we don't even have Nextdoor or an app like that. It's just like old
Mm-hmm.
school email listservs for the community. And so the debate is like, oh, it's a positive in this way. And then there's a lot of people who are like, don't change anything ever. We should always have it the way it used to be, kind of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
um, but it's Vermont for us has been, those conversations tend to be a lot more uh, communal. Like you have them with each other rather than just speaking into a void, or only with the people that uh, you prefer to talk to. And so that's kind of been nice.
Yeah.
But
Rather than
yeah,
just
yeah,
complaining on
totally agree.
Twitter.
Yeah, yeah. And for you, um, have you managed to explore LA in any ways? Like, what's your favorite part of LA?
Yeah. Wow. LA's definitely very, very different than like San Diego, like in a bunch of different ways. But definitely, we've gone to we like exploring LA quite a bit. Um, just how different each neighborhood could be in LA. Like if
Right.
you go
Yeah,
to like
yeah.
Silver Lake or West Hollywood or Santa Monica or anywhere in downtown, it's like a small different like city everywhere you go. So I think that's really really nice. Or go to East LA for amazing like tacos and stuff. But
Great food. Yeah.
yeah, amazing food. Everything feels like a lot more like a lot bigger than like in San Diego. Like here, it's
Mm-hmm.
like SoFi Stadium in a like everybody who has a concert is gonna pass by LA for sure. And then like
That's true.
and
Yeah.
big museums and this and that, and then like it just feels like a way more like important place to be, and like, just a lot of like recognizable buildings and
Mm.
all that kind of stuff. But um we did like a studio tour, like of the Warner Brothers like studio lot, which was
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
super fun. I like museums a lot. Like I think I really enjoy going to LACMA.
Yep.
So that's a really really nice museum. We saw not too long ago. We went when they had like Obama's presidential portrait, and then a
Uh-huh.
lot of different art from that artist as well, and that was super cool. Um,
Nice.
and they yeah, so I at least got a whole lot to offer. I like it quite a bit. It's
Very
it's been
cool.
fun to explore. Yeah.
Yeah, have you gotten into the routines of hiking up to Griffith Park or up by the Hollywood sign or Laurel
Yeah.
Mountain kind of stuff? Like, are you on the regular circuit on weekends? We got to go do the hikes.
We don't do it every weekend, but we do it every now and then. We're pretty close to Runyon Canyon.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it's like a super basic, common, popular place to hike
yeah.
where they actually
With no
have one of those.
parking. Yeah,
No
zero
parking.
parking.
Yeah, zero parking. Just getting from your parking to the start of the hike is a hike in and of itself. Um,
Yeah,
but that's a nice hike. Um, and we've gone to Griffith. There's a Griffith Park is actually kind of a nice. It's like a really like woods area. I also kind of
yeah.
play a little bit of golf on the side, and there's a little
Oh,
golf course over
nice.
there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just
That
a nice
was that
drive.
was my old neighborhood. I lived right at the bottom of the observatory, and so we would walk through the neighborhood to like kind of go up the back way. It's a great place. I love Griffith Park.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
curious. I'm fascinated because when I lived there, this was all pre iPhone and real social media, unless you count like Friendster and stuff,
yeah.
which I don't. Is everybody just like TikTok Live or Instagram Reels while you're on Runyon Canyon? Is everybody doing their best to be some type of influencer?
I don't fit in LA in that way at all because I have Twitter and that's it. I don't have Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok on my phone at all. Um, it's always weird just like seeing like people like in the wild just like running around and like, hey guys, I'm over here doing this that. I'm just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's weird to me. It's weird. It's kind of weird to me, but it's not as bad as you might expect. But when you do see it, it is definitely like a weird kind of like thing to see. And something that blew my mind is there's this like pink wall here in LA where it's just a
hmm
pink wall, and you just get tons and tons of people just going over there and just trying to get like the best picture that they can at this like pink wall. And it's just I don't
hmm.
know. It's definitely weird to see. As someone who like does not really engage a lot in social media,
Right.
it's definitely a weird sight to see. But yeah.
What was your biggest assumption about LA that proved to be true? And then what was your biggest assumption that was like not at all true?
Um, my biggest assumption that I think ended up being true is like the stereotypical kind of what you said of people are like in the entertainment business. They want to get into the entertainment business. They want to social media and that kind of stuff. And people don't ask you for your like phone number. They ask you for your Instagram account or that kind of stuff. And then like how many followers do you have? Yada yada yada. And it's like if you want to get to a certain place, it's more like so it's not if they have any room. It's how many
How many
followers you got.
followers do you have? Right.
How many followers do you have? Like that's how many followers do you have? And no, but so that was something that I think I thought like yeah that'll be part of LA and it definitely was part of LA.
Yeah.
So that yeah, and so that was weird. And something that proved to like not be true is this is kind of a weird one, but like I don't drive a whole bunch, but when I do drive,
Oh wow.
it's
Yep.
not like I don't really hit like tons of traffic, and everybody's like, man, you're going to LA, traffic's gonna suck, and this and that. Um, but so I don't drive as much. Oh, another one that ended up being true for sure is how much you hear about like crime in the city. That
Mm.
happens. You hear about that pretty often. My girlfriend's on this app called like Citizen, where it kind of tells you like
Well,
what's going on, and like like somebody with like gun got going on over here and
yeah.
then over there, and someone and my car has been like already broken into. So you kind of get that
Yeah.
that
Mike,
that part of
I had a
LA.
car. I had a car stolen in LA. Like, uh, it was fine. There's crime in any city. It was just a case that I had a very stealable car. I think. I actually think my mechanic stole it because it was always like sketchy when I went to the mechanic. But
Yeah,
I had an old VW Bug, like a '66 VW Bug, and so you can just like you go to specialized mechanics, and every time I would go there,
yeah.
he would like immediately tell everybody to cover half the cars that were in the back, like, "Hey, cover those cars," and I was like, "What's happening?"
Shit,
and
yeah,
pretty convinced that they then came and got my car one time, and
yeah,
yeah. Have you? I think one of the surprising things that I never knew is LA has a subway. Have you been on the metro at
yeah.
all?
No, I have not been on the metro at all. A friend of mine does use like is pretty big on public transportation. He'll take the bus and the metro and everything.
Yeah,
Um, and when I go to Mexico City, I use the metro all the time. If I go to
nice.
we went to New York, I use the metro
Yeah,
all the time. Here, not once. Not once have I
yeah.
used the metro.
It took me maybe a year and a half to figure it out and discover it. But once I did, I was like, oh, because where I lived, there was a station that was just maybe like a 10-minute walk, but I could go downtown LA or
Mm,
even go into the valley, like to Universal Studios at the time. Now the metro goes a lot more places.
mm,
I think you could even get to the beach on it and stuff like that. And yeah, complete. And it's like really rad architecture and great art installments inside of each
yeah.
station. And
Oh, cool.
so we would use the metro all the time once we discovered it. But it's one of those things like nobody ever talks about LA having a subway, like an
Yeah,
underground train system.
yeah.
And it's yeah, it could be better, but it's actually not bad.
So much driving in LA. Like, driving is like the main. And then I've never felt worse about my car until I moved to LA. I have an old Jetta, but people take their car game here way more seriously than they did over there in
Right.
San Diego. Everybody's got on this car. There's like this max, thing on your car that goes this
Sure.
and that, and But mine's lame, and I've never noticed it more than I was here.
Right, right. Nothing like a city shaming you for being, responsible and not going into debt to get some type of
Yeah,
fancy car to get the movie role.
yeah, exactly.
Um, cool. That's rad. Hey, I really enjoyed this. I'm glad we got to chat and to get to know you a little bit more. We've met each other before, but never really got into it, and I had no idea that you punish yourself with cycling just to like keep in touch with mom and keep that bond going. Um,
Exactly.
so that's pretty good on you as a son to put yourself through that much pain.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, and thank you for inviting
Yeah,
me. Yeah, it was awesome talking and getting to
rad.
know you as well.
Yeah, likewise, and yeah, we'll chat soon for sure.